What's up, guys? Today we're going to talk about a new product called the Smart Backstop. Here's a picture of it right here. This is too big for me to hold, and it's set up in the backyard. Anyway, very cool product. Excited to do this review, so let's go. All right, so Michael Regali is the gentleman who developed the Smart Backstop and founded the company. He is a father of two lacrosse players. I think they're grown now, but when they were young, he faced the same issues that every lacrosse parent has, and that is, you want your kids to get reps outside of practice. You want them to practice shooting. You want them to practice, everything. But lacrosse balls are hard and they're dangerous and they do damage. So, shooting at 100% in your yard without a good backstop system is, it's unlikely. You're not going to do it unless you have no regard for your neighbors. You're probably not, or acres and acres of space. You're probably not going to be shooting 100%. Because also, even if you've got space, and no neighbors, you don't really want to lose balls. Balls are expensive. So personally, we have a big enough backyard for shooting, but we've got neighbors behind us that are lunatics. They're out of their mind. When we moved in, there was this old fence falling down, and we could see into this, whatever it is, encampment. I don't even want to call it a lot. It's like 4 lots connected, and they inherited it, and I don't think they work. There was a dead cat on the roof for months. Anyway, so when we moved in, we built this big fence, big, tall, 8 or 9 foot fence, and we paid for the whole thing. We didn't even want to deal splitting the cost. We got it. We also, our builder, he suggested giving them the good side of the fence with the flat, none of the supports. And we're like, why? He said, because that's like a ladder. If they have the supports on their side, the bad side of the fence, they could climb up and look over. He's like, give them the slippery side. Oh, that's thinking. So anyway, we built this whole fence. But now whenever we touch it with a lacrosse ball or whatever, they freak out. They yell. They're like, dude, that's our fence. We paid for that fence. Anyway, so that's one of our issues. When we shoot, or even just playing catch, if we miss one and it dribbles into the fence, they're always outside. I don't think they have indoor plumbing. So he was having the same issue. Broken windows, fences, dented cars, and he set about to solve the problem. He's an inventor and problem solver, so that's what he set about doing. His vision was a backstop that was integrated with the goal, which that's brilliant. The goal is mobile. You want to move the goal around. If you've got a smaller yard and there's one single place for the goal, cool. But if you've got a bigger yard and you like it over here sometimes and over here sometimes, you can't really unstake your big net backstop and replant it. It's kind of a pain to move those things. So a backstop integrated with the goal is brilliant, but it's got to be rugged. It's got to be durable. And after 3 years of prototypes and nonstop development, he fine-tuned this thing to where it is now, and it's really it's engineered incredibly well. It's such a good idea. The way it's set up is really smart. He's got 1 patent on it. More patents are pending. It's unlike anything anybody else has done, so I don't think securing these patents will be an issue. It is easy to set up. All right, so here's a little time lapse of me putting it together. It's really no problem at all to put together. It takes about 5-10 minutes. No tools are required. One person can do it. If you started doing it without having watched a video of it being done, like they have a video on their website that shows head coach of the Cannons doing it, and it's a great video. Kind of gives you an idea of how it works. I would suggest watching that once, or if you can figure out from my little video here, sure, that's good. But really, if you go in a little bit prepared, this is a quick setup. And if you go in unprepared and just use the directions, it's still a quick setup, maybe 20 minutes as opposed to 10. But either way, it's fast and it's easy. The beauty is that you set it up, and when you're done, you just one simple lift of the sides, and they fold down behind the goal, so it's not a danger to blow over with the wind. It's tucked in there nicely with your goal. It can stay on your goal all the time. It's engineered incredibly well. It's such a good idea. The way it's set up is really smart. And unlike the backstops, the big netted backstops that are 5-10 yards behind the goal, or even right behind the goal, those things you have to retrieve the balls behind the goal to get them. The smart backstop you hit anywhere and it falls right in front of the goal. Retrieval is easier. The balls are in front. It makes more reps, even easier. Every time you shag a ball, you cut off 5 seconds, which is great. That just means more time shooting before the sun goes down. And my favorite thing about it, engineering-wise, design-wise, is how it folds back behind the goal. That is awesome. It's just so smart. Over time in the wind, and there's not a lot of wind resistance because it's net, but it would definitely blow with the wind, and it would probably weaken the things over time. But folding it back behind, super smart. That's just going to add to the durability and the long-term functionality of the product. The junior college I coached at this fall, we did not have nets in the end zones. In the next month or so, we're getting new turf, and I'm hoping they put in holes at the end for backstops. Being a school on a football field, those big full-length backstops are required. We were always running out of balls, and we had school on this side and like Ivy on this side, and we lost a lot of balls. The practice time that we lost shagging balls was significant. But aside from that, the cost of balls, the practice time lost shagging balls, there's a psychological thing where kids know, even if they don't think about it, they know if I miss this shot, I'm going to have to get that ball, or my teammate's going to have to get that ball. And I know that we're running out of balls, and they may not be really consciously thinking of these things, but they're in the back of their mind. And so it's entirely possible. I know for me, when I shoot without a backstop, I don't shoot very hard. When I've got backup, when I know that I'm not going to lose this ball, I rip it. I shoot as hard as I can. It may not be very hard, but it's as hard as I can. And I think that the psychological benefit of having a stop for your ball is huge, especially if you're in your own backyard with balls that you paid your own money for, and you just got woods behind you. You don't want to lose those balls. So you may be shooting 60%. You may be shooting dead center of the goal just to ensure that it goes in. You don't have to chase it. A product like the Smart Backstop is, I think, really important for players to develop. You don't want to train yourself to shoot at 60% because you're worried about the ball. You want to shoot at the absolute top of your ability. You want to rip it. When I coach youth players, you see kids almost passing it into the goal because they're trying to hit corners or keep it on the pipes or whatever. And I always tell them, shoot hard first. Let's develop your power first. Accuracy will come. And so I think a lot of people who are shooting, hamstringing themselves without the backup, they're hurting themselves because they may just be working on certain things without the power. And as you go up from youth to high school to college, goalies are good at what they do, and you can't shoot soft. You've got to put some heat on it. So, a backstop is such an important thing. If you find that you're out shooting and you're holding back because you're worried about the balls, there's a problem, and it's worth investing in a backstop. I would suggest the Smart Backstop because you really could take it out to the school or the playground, pop it on a goal, and then remove it when you're done. It's better, on a goal and left on a goal, folded back, but it is relatively mobile. I think you could set it up in, 10, 15 minutes. And if it's already in with the poles and you're just popping it off and kind of folding it down to throw in the back of your truck, 5 minutes. We had a tournament last weekend, and then I was sick. Family was sick, so we set it up, and then we weren't able to play with it. But we went out a couple days ago and just started shooting for 10, 15 minutes. And came back in, ate some dinner, and then wanted to go back out, but it was dark and we were bummed. And then the first chance we got the next day, we were back out set up the tripod or whatever and just started shooting. And it felt good to shoot 100% in the backyard. That was new to us because we've never had that comfort, that safety net, to not lose our balls and not make our crazy neighbors mad.
Okay.
Yeah.
You ready?
Yeah.
You can also get a duffel bag that you can stow it in a duffel bag for travel if you're taking it places. That's handy. They also have a net, an in-goal, not net, target system, the in-goal target system that you can hang up. All right, guys, definitely go check this out if you are in need. Parents, you want your kid getting the most out of his time practicing outside of practice. If you think about a practice and how it breaks down, 2-hour practice, you've got dynamic warm-ups, you've got skill stuff, line drills, star drill, that kind of stuff. You might have some 1v1s, you might have some unsettled stuff, you might do some sixes or some tiger. Your actual number of shots, unless you're doing shooting drills, unless you're doing a lot of shooting drills, your actual touches, your actual shots taken in a practice is not enough. So shooters, if you are a shooter or you want to be an offensive player who scores, you've got to shoot more outside of practice. Pull out the goal when you can, or get a setup in your backyard or somewhere your friend's backyard, whatever you can do. But definitely you've got to be shooting. And a product like the Smart Backstop, I think, gives you the confidence to shoot at 100% without worrying about crazy old man Jenkins or losing this precious pearl that you just took out of the box. It's a good tool, and I would highly suggest it. I love it. Big Sam did a video on his. If you are not subscribed to Big Sam, do so. He loves his as well. He's always posting shooting videos out there with his. Very good product, Smart Backstop. Thank you for sending it over. It will get a lot of use in our backyard. It already has, but we'll be out there every day. At least my kid will. My joints kind of hurt when I shoot. All right, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next video.